Private Lender Podcast, episode 98.
This is the Private Lender Podcast, the show that shares practical advice and know-how for new and seasoned lenders, from private mortgages on single-family houses to joint ventures on commercial projects and beyond. Discover details about investment vehicles that you won't find at your local bank or online broker. Listen and learn from private lenders and real estate investors, as well as from professionals and entrepreneurs, as they share the details, strategies, and the insight that allows for successful and prosperous lending. Now, get ready to increase your ROI. Here's your host, Keith Baker.
Hello and greetings, everyone. Welcome to episode number 98 of the Private Lender Podcast. I'm your host, Keith Baker, and I'd like to thank you for sharing your time and your ears with me today. This podcast is the only place where you can learn how to become a passive real estate investor and learn how to keep your money safe while investing in private mortgages to other seasoned investors. If you're looking for practical tips and advice on becoming a successful private lender and how to build wealth without banks or Wall Street, then you're in the right place. But if you want to learn from my mistakes so you can avoid them and shorten your own learning curve, well, then pull up a chair, my friend, and pour yourself some single malt, a few fingers, and add a drop or two of water, because this podcast is just for you. This episode is being recorded in room number 27 at the Craigalackie Hotel, next to my favorite river in the world, the River Spey in Scotland. That's right, I'm spending a few days of rest and relaxation near the River Spey in pursuit of tasting the finest dram of Scotch whiskey in the valley. Why am I doing this? 1, because I'm a Scotch lover, and 2, because the conference I was scheduled to attend in Norway this week has been canceled due to the coronavirus. So until I return home to Texas, I have instituted a strict regimen of single malt whiskey alcohol to keep me safe, which is a great segue into today's topic. Believe it or not, as it is quite easy to spot when somebody has a problem with alcohol. The signs are fairly evident. They always have a drink in their hand, or they're drunk all the time. Perhaps they become violent and abusive, or they spend their free time between business meetings in the Scottish countryside sampling as much scotch as possible. How do you know if your borrower is in trouble? That is today's topic. Well, the warning signs can be just as evident, and I'd like to outline a few of those for you in case you've already made a loan and you're kind of wondering, is my borrower doing okay? Is he telling me the truth, he or she? So let's go ahead and run through a few of the telltale signs that would suggest your borrower is in trouble and you may want to be ready to take action. The first warning sign is sudden lack or stoppage of regular communication. If everything's going smooth and all of a sudden everything stops, the emails, the texts, the calls, they're not quite so available to you, that may be a pretty good indication that they are getting in trouble. The second is late payments or returned payments. Those are my least favorite of them all. That oftentimes isn't just an accounting error. They are floating checks, so to speak, which is, I'm showing my age there because with the electronic and the digital age, we're no longer able to float checks like we used to, where you'd write a check on Monday knowing that the money would be in your bank on Tuesday, and it'd take at least 48 to 72 hours for the bank to clear that check of yours. So that late or returned payments, telltale sign. The third warning sign is they ask if you can lend them just a little more. They hadn't quite budgeted for X or Y. Now, this is kind of a slippery slope because let's say one corner of the house has termite damage that wasn't caught early on, or say there's an old ratty pipe. These things kind of do happen. What I would suggest is look at the severity of the surprise. Should they have known about it? Should they have thought about it? Or was this something that, okay, they would have to... Sorry about that. That was an unexpected pause due to some noise in the hotel corridor. So back to, what is the surprise? I would gauge that. If it's small, no big deal. Those things kind of happen all the time. You can't prepare or anticipate everything. But if it's something that you feel like they should have anticipated or looked at, then that is a pretty good warning sign. Warning sign number 4, you have to chase them for an update. This is my least favorite. This is the one I hate the most. I can't stand it when I have to chase my borrowers. That is a really good warning sign, and I let them know real quick. The more I have to chase, the quicker I'm going to file, for either be for foreclosure or whatever. Their life will not be made easier if I have to chase them. Bottom line. Here's another one. Number 5, they don't want you to visit the property. That is a telltale sign, my friend, that my hackles would go up immediately if somebody asked, "Oh, don't go to the property yet." Now, if they're doing something construction-wise, that's fine. But you can always drive by. Nothing prevents you from doing a drive-by. So I would suggest you do that quite often, especially if they don't want you to visit your borrower doesn't want you to visit the property. And number 6, this is a pretty good one here. They start talking about changing their exit strategies that require you, the lender, to stay in a little bit longer. This is a case where I'd go back. This is why I want references in previous lenders, because I like to go back and ask them, those previous lenders, how the loans went. Because look, shit does happen. Sometimes markets change quickly, especially on a rehab. It might take an extra 30 or 60 days. That's no big deal. You should put that into your promissory note in your loan agreements. If it goes longer, if you have a 90-day loan and they need another 30 or 60 days, take a point, have it all ready to go in the document so that everybody knows if the loan does go long, you're going to be taken care of, or you're going to be at least remunerated somehow. So those are the 6. And a quick recap of the 6 warning signs that your borrower is in trouble. It's a sudden lack or stoppage of regular communication. Number 2, late payments or return payments. Number 3, they ask you if you can lend them just a little more. Number 4, you have to chase them for an update on the project or the property. Number 5, they don't want you visiting that property. And number 6, they change exit strategies and want you to stay in a little bit longer. They'll extend the loan. So, all right, that's going to do it for episode number 98. And thank you for hanging in there with me, because I was at the Copper Dog last night. I had dinner and a few drinks, and I'm trying to get this recorded before I have to check out of the hotel and get on with my day. So thanks again. And also, I want to thank everyone for hanging in there with me, not only on this episode, but for the last 97, and for being patient while I try to sort out this thing called my career and my side hustle. And speaking of the side hustle, I don't charge money for this show, but I do ask that you please help me to get the word out and increase awareness for it by leaving me an honest rating and review over at iTunes, Google Podcast, or whatever platform you are using to hear my voice. That is the best way you can help contribute to this show and help me, and I'd be grateful if you would do it, because it helps others find out about the show, especially those who are trying to develop their own private lenders for their deals. This is a great and valuable resource that's impartial and can be looked as well, hell, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It can be a good thing, and I'm not going to press pause anymore because I've already messed up once today. So anyway, I hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, try to get my day going, get some water in me. And as always, I wish you safe and prosperous private lending. I'll catch you on the next episode.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Private Lender Podcast with your host, Keith Baker. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit privatelenderpodcast.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate and review, and we'll catch you next time.